What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Jessica Jones, Season 2, Episode 7, aka I Want Your Cray Cray. Any show that uses the term cray cray, not off to a good start with me. So yeah, this episode, the only reference that is to is apparently Trish had a song that was possibly going to go platinum before I guess she had her downfall, called I Want Your Cray Cray. What? You really think that song, where literally she says literally over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, I want your cray cray. That's the entire song. No verses, nothing else, just her saying, I want your cray cray. And that was about to be platinum song? Like, don't get me wrong, there have been songs like that before, but that one was, it didn't even have like a good beat. Most of the songs that are like that are just repetitive and say the same things over and over again, don't really have lyrics, but just repeat the same. Most of the time, it's at least catchy if it's a popular song. This one was not catchy. It was just noise. Like, I actually related to Jessica in that point, because she's sitting there, she's just like, yeah, hearing it at 200 decibels doesn't make it any better. And I'm like, thank you. It's awful. It was really, really bad. And yet it was about to go platinum. People's taste in music really need to be questioned. Anyways, so that's kind of how it starts, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so is this, I guess, a time travel episode, like we're going back in time, we're going to see how all this happens? We do, and it pretty much plays out exactly how I expected it to. You know, we get to see her mom, how she ended up getting out of IGH, and also she has a chance to see Jessica, but then she's dating this guy who tries to talk to these guys about, hey, you know, I'll let Jessica work for you, you know, but I get a part of the profits, you know, of whatever you make. And the mom hears all of this, so of course she loses her mind and then kills the boyfriend. And then she decides, because of that, I can't be around Jessica, I'm a danger, I need to go back. And so that's how she hasn't been out this whole time. And the reason this was so obvious, first of all, obviously she's been with IGH this whole time because she's still with the doctor. So clearly she hasn't left. So the fact that she was about to leave, in my mind I'm thinking, okay, so she's going to go back at the end, right? You know, we see her breaking out, we see what happened to Inez, we see that happen in this episode, but all I'm thinking is she's going to go back at some point, right? She's going to do something that's going to cause her to want to go back, or they're just going to catch her again. One of these two things is going to happen. And then I see that the boyfriend is trying to open up a club called Alias, and that's when it all kind of clicks together. Okay, so she's likely going to kill him because that means Jessica will probably... The reason she named it Alias Investigations is in his memory because he's going to be murdered. So there you go. That's also probably why she became a PI, because she saw that happen. She decided she wanted to try to, I guess, stop that from happening in the future, or maybe she just wanted to become an investigator so she could help solve crimes like that. Maybe. But yeah, so I kind of figured all that was going to happen, and then it all did, and that was an entire episode. You know, and it's a little disappointing because it was so predictable that we had to spend that much on a flashback. You know, I felt like maybe it should be half the episode is the flashback, and then the other half is them discussing what happened in the flashback, them discussing some of what happened. And instead, the only present day stuff we get is her mom saying all this and then asking, can you forgive me? And then Jessica punches her and then gets ejected and gets knocked out. So, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a waste of time a little bit, just because we could have inferred most of what happened. We didn't really need this whole long story. You know, I'm glad we got to know a little bit more about Trish and Jessica and where they came from. We even get to see kind of Trish going through the same motions back then when she was addicted to drugs as she is now that she's addicted to whatever Simpson was using. So, yeah, I'm seeing some of the parallels that they're bringing, but it still feels like you used up an entire episode for one flashback. It still feels like it's too much. But with all that being said, there are a couple parts of this that sort of stand out a little bit more. First of all, one of the bad standouts in this has to be whenever she's escaping. We've got some good action in these Marvel Netflix shows from time to time. You know, we do get some moments where they've really choreographed fights well. It feels like it's a real fight. But yeah, when she breaks out, no. First of all, the doctor goes up to the door and she like super like forcing her movements, slams her up against the door, finds out where Jessica is, and then throws her, and the doctor like whoa, like spinning over, spins up to the door where the button to call for an emergency is, and then she's just kind of like, and then she sees she's going for the button, and she goes like winds up to press the button, like, and then she catches her arm, pulls her to her, and then goes like super forced. Like, you know, most of the time the choreography in these shows has felt like, you know, it feels like it's flowing motion, like they're not having to do a lot of wind up. It feels like it's quick, fast. In this one, it was like super dramatic, grab her, super dramatic, spin her around, super dramatic, wind up to press the button, super dramatic, grab and twist her neck. Just, it was bad. It was really bad. Probably the worst fighting, I think, out of all the shows. And that includes Iron Fist. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but that was really, really poorly executed scene. But we do get to see what happened to Inez. And of course she does talk about in the episode before this how she was healed by someone. So I was wondering if we were going to see that at all. We didn't. A little disappointed in that. But aside from that, another thing that comes out of this episode that is actually pretty interesting is we get to see more about IGH in this. And so far, they've kind of been built up as like this evil corporation, like, ooh, they're doing dastardly things, they experimented on people, ooh. But in this one, we do see, through the eyes of Carl, I guess, we see that they're not necessarily evil. They're doing things the wrong way. You know, the experiments obviously are bad, and experimenting on humans is a bad thing. But at the same time, they're trying to perfect these experiments to help people. You know, they're trying to, you think about the fact that they did save Jessica and her mother's life. That is kind of a good thing. So I'm kind of curious if this is IGH that's supposed to be the bad guy this season, or maybe if there's something else going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Maybe there's like a specific faction of IGH that's evil, and then Carl just happens to be one of the people that are decent working in IGH. I don't know. I'm still trying to get a grasp on that, but that's definitely something that we got to see a little bit more of in this episode through the flashback that I do feel like will play into the rest of this season. So, still waiting to see what's going to play out there, but overall, it still has my attention. It just feels like this was kind of a little bit of a waste of an episode, so looking forward to seeing what comes next, though. So, I'll see you guys in the next episode in just a second. Now on to episode 8, Ain't We Got Fun. And things are starting to progress a little bit more. Now, there is still quite a few things I'm not sure about, you know, still not sure how much IGH, like I said in the last review, or at last episode review, still not sure how much of it is they're evil, how much of it is there's parts of it that are evil, or if they're even a bad guy altogether. But we do see at the end of this episode, sure enough, there is somebody trying to hunt down both Jessica and her mom, more than likely. Either that or Carl is just like trying to find a way to get her back. I don't know. I don't quite know what this could mean. Because frankly, we saw at the beginning of the season, there's somebody with super strength going around killing people. And while it did explain a couple of them, like, I think he said that she is the one that killed Kozlov at the beginning of this. But we still don't know if she killed everybody else as well. You know, like Simpson. Why would she kill Simpson? What reason did she have? The guy, the speedster. Why did she kill him? You know, there are certain things that I'm still not entirely sure if it was even her or if there's somebody else out there with super strength going around and doing all this stuff. So, yeah, I'm still kind of curious to see where that's headed. But as far as this episode is concerned, it's mainly just she gets a chance to spend more time with her mom and just gets to know her a bit more. And that's most of what happens in this. And I kind of expected them to do something like this where she gets a chance to kind of see that her mom is not all bad, that it is still her mom, even though she now has super strength and they changed a lot of stuff. It still is her deep down. It's just she has that side of her, that rage and aggression, which honestly is kind of similar to Jessica, except for her mom, it's a lot more like mood swings almost. She'll just instantly snap and turn into a raging monster. For Jessica, she just has anger problems, I think. Maybe. It still may tie into her abilities somehow, I'm not entirely sure, but ultimately, I am kind of liking where they're taking their story, getting to see a bit more of them together, getting to see, I guess, both sides of the story, because Jessica's seeing the side where they've been experimented on, and now they have these abilities, and they're both practically monsters. But her mom sees the side of the story where, hey, they saved our lives. I still have you, you still have me. So I'm kind of liking the duality there. As far as everything else, though, I'm really losing interest in the rest of this show. I hate to say it, but man, first of all, Jerry's story really lost some interest here. She finally goes and sees this guy that supposedly is able to heal. She goes in there, and apparently he heals her, and I guess it seems like maybe he is either being harmed by his ability, or whenever he takes the pain away from someone, he takes that pain on. So is it possible he actually took on her ALS? That would be terrible. That would mean she just practically killed a man. And the fact that she's just so, willing to go do this is kind of... You're a terrible person, Jerry Hogarth. You're an awful, awful person. And then, of course, by the end of the episode, when you're a woman like Jerry, who's basically, I've seen this in some shows. It's like they have that one character that is supposed to represent something that we support that. You'll have your token black character that's like, we support black people's rights. Or you'll have your token feminist character, we support women. Or you'll have your typical or token homosexual character, we support homosexuality. Jerry is the token homosexual, so any chance they can throw her into another woman and show that, hey, we support that, we support two women together, or even two men, because we had a little scene in the gay bar with Malcolm and one of the other guys that apparently is, I think he's one of Jerry's partners in the business, I believe. I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so Jerry is kind of that token lesbian character that any chance that they have to put her with another woman to show that, hey, two women to being together is not a bad thing and we absolutely 100% support this, they do it. So, of course, Jerry is keeping this girl safe, and she's an attractive girl, and she even says, I can't remember if it was this episode or last episode that she said that she's like, oh, you're attractive, you're really smart. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so when does she make her move on her? And when does the girl just accept it? Because that's what I expect out of this show. They're going to do it at some point. And sure enough, at the end of this episode, they're hooking up. I'm just like, gee, I wonder why. Could it be that maybe they formed just this bond, spending time together, that they're actually really attracted to each other? Or is it just the show writers want to write a scene with these two women making out, and so, hey, let's just have it happen out of absolutely nowhere because Jerry just got her ALS healed. So, yeah, I don't know. I just hate it whenever shows find... even when just random people start having sex, in this show, it happens a lot, and it's just kind of becoming overwhelming at this point. I just want to get back to the show. I want to get back to trying to figure out what's going on with IGH, trying to figure out about Jessica and her mom and their powers. Who's this person that's going around killing people? Is it Jessica's mom? Is it somebody else? I want to get back to all of that. So to spend time, half of the episode with that, and then with everything going on with Trish and Malcolm, just isn't that interesting right now. So on to the Trish and Malcolm stuff. Trish has obviously gone off the deep end, and we know this. But the frustrating thing about all of this is now she's trying to drag Malcolm into it as well. And Malcolm even catches it at the beginning. He's like, okay, so you were thrown up really sick, and then I bring you your inhaler, and then all of a sudden you're fine, and you're all over me. And he's like, which is great. And I'm just like, okay, so at least he knows that's different. That's not quite right. And then she explains to him what's going on, this enhancer thing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so at this point he should know this thing has kind of thrown her off a little bit. Between being sick and the fact that I'm pretty sure he walked in and her place was torn up. At least I'm pretty sure it was still torn up when he showed up. So he should know that something's wrong with this, and yet at the end of this episode, whenever she shows up to stop these guys that are trying to kick his ass, she shows up, helps him out, beats up the guys, they get scared away, and she's like, here, take this, it'll help you heal. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Malcolm, you seem like a smart guy. You know, you're growing as a PI, you're growing as kind of Jessica's assistant, which means you should be able to take all of the clues and hints that you got from what you saw at Trish, through Trish. You should be able to take all of that and say to yourself, maybe it has something to do with this enhancement thing that she's taking. No. She's just sitting there, come on, take it. Trust me, it's not addictive. Right, sure. I'm really curious why she said that. Like, does she really believe that it's not addictive when she literally tore through her house trying to find it because she couldn't find it anywhere? I hope that it gets explained. I hope at some point it's revealed that, okay, this thing also kind of wipes your memory whenever you don't have it, so she couldn't remember how crazy she got when she didn't have it. Because I feel like you would remember that. You would remember how absolutely insane you went when you didn't have it. And so for her to say it's not addictive, to me, I just kind of chuckle a little bit. I'm like, you're really an idiot, aren't you? But yeah, Malcolm's just sitting there, and I'm just like, dude, don't be an idiot. Please don't be an idiot. Malcolm, whatever you do not be an idiot. I'm like, oh, idiot. So yeah, now I don't know what's happening with him. It's apparently triggered something in him. I don't know what, but he gets absolutely terrified. He's like, get away from me, and then starts running. And I'm sitting there expecting like him to get hit by a car or something, because the way they framed it, I'm just like, is something bad about to happen to him? Like, please don't kill Malcolm. He's actually becoming a pretty decent character this season until this episode. But no, nothing happens. He just runs away scared. So I honestly do not know what to expect with this anymore. And I honestly really don't care because they've kind of pissed me off at this point. I kind of feel like you're treating Trish and Malcolm as idiots in the way that they're acting. Kind of frustrating because honestly, you know, Trish from the first season, I liked her. I thought she was a good character. I thought she was a pretty strong character considering she's been this kind of adoptive sister to a superhero. You'd expect her to be, you know, somewhat strong because obviously being with Jessica can tend to do that. But the fact that she still had so much bravery, even though she was facing something that she had no business facing as a regular human, I thought that was a good moment for her. It was a good season for her because of that. With Malcolm, last season, he was just kind of that guy that was in Jessica's apartment. It's just like, okay, he's kind of weird and a little awkward. This season, he's becoming an assistant. He's done well so far. And now it's like the writers are just taking both of them and just running them through the mud. I really hope it doesn't last much longer. You know, we're already halfway through the season and we're still dealing with Trish's thing. Now Malcolm's roped in as well. I really hope it doesn't last too much longer because I'm sick of seeing it. And Jerry's stuff, I just... Honestly, at this point, I'm like, either kill her off or just have her go so far off the deep end that she becomes a bad guy or something. I don't know. Just do something interesting with her. Stop doing the same old, okay, so she deals with something, she does something shady, she does something dirty, she does something, you know, despicable that makes me not like her, and then she hooks up with a woman. Every single time. It's like clockwork. She does something despicable, hooks up with a woman. Does something, you know, shady or maybe not quite legal, hooks up with a woman. That's all her story has been since season 1. I'm just like, do something different and unique and original with her. But they're not. It's like they have no ideas. They're just like, okay, so we got Carrie-Anne Moss as one of our characters on the show. We can't just have her be a bit part character. So let's just let's just have her doing her own thing for a bit. Why? Why not do something different? So anyways, yeah, I'm still not quite sold on her yet, not quite sold on Trish and Malcolm, but maybe it's all coming together for something at the end of the season. Fingers crossed, I'm really, really hoping. But anyways, that's it for this episode. So now on to the last of these 3 before I'm done with this review. See you there in a sec. And last up, episode 9, Shark in the Bathtub, Monster in the Bed. So things are progressing once again pretty predictably. With the whole... You've got these different situations going on. I will say I was a little mistaken in the last episode. I thought that Jerry had gotten healed when that guy was touching her hand. It turns out he was just sensing her injury, I guess, or sensing her illness. And so, yeah, apparently this episode she has to get him out of prison and then use that as leverage to have him come heal her. We don't know what happens. It looks like he's trying to heal her, and it looks like it might have worked. It might not have. Her reaction is kind of neutral to make us, I guess, keep us guessing, I suppose. Same thing with the whole at the beginning of the season when it was like the tests have come back and we see her like crying, but we don't know what she has. Why did you keep that a secret? Here it's like she's sitting there crying, but are they tears of joy or tears of sadness? I can't tell. And for some reason it's like keeping that from us because it's like, oh, we know you're so interested in how Jerry is going to be. We know you're just so invested on whether or not she's going to get healed, so we're going to keep it as a cliffhanger. Tune in next time to find out what happens. We know you're going to come back just for that. No. You're wasting my time already with this story. Now you're wasting even more of my time by dragging it out and leaving it on a cliffhanger. I'm getting the feeling she's probably healed because why would you spend all of this time on getting this guy out of prison? Why would you spend this time making her cry and making us think, oh, maybe it didn't work because she's crying? Why would you spend all that time for it not to be like, oh, no, she's healed? You spend all that time and it turns out, oh, that didn't work at all. What was the point of all of it then? There would be no point, which is why I know for a fact that she's healed. Because if they did waste all my time, that would piss me off. So yeah, that Jerry's side of the story is still running about as predictable as ever. And it still just doesn't have my interest. The stuff with Trish and Malcolm, Malcolm apparently after the last episode decided he was so done with the show he just ran off the set. He was just like, no, you guys made my character do something that stupid, I'm done. I'm never coming back. So he just, not in this episode at all. But Trish, it turns out, is slowly she's becoming more aggressive, she's becoming more agitated. She even quits her job at Trish Talk. And because of that, then she gets offered a better job at CCTV or ZZTV. I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, it's like, okay, so let me get this straight. She does all these horrible things. She takes this drug that is affecting her both mentally and physically. She's addicted to it. It's causing her problems. She's doing all this stuff, just terrible, terrible, terrible stuff. And then on top of all that, then all these good things happen. You know, she quits her job, and then she gets offered a better job. I'm just like, hang on. Newton's law of every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That's not how that works. When you act like a douchebag and you start just blasting this girl on your radio talk show and then you quit your radio talk show, that does not make somebody call you and say, hey, I heard you completely just trash that girl and then quit your job. I trust you enough to hire you to my job. What? Hey, I saw you at that one restaurant. I saw you as a waiter. You really got pissed off at those people that were just giving you a rough time. They were terrible customers. You just got so pissed off that you threw spaghetti in their face and you quit right there on the spot. I trust you. I'm going to give you a job. That's not how the world works. And that's where the show is kind of losing me. And I can vaguely remember it from the first season as well. There are moments where it's like they want to show the dark side. Oh, they want to show the despicable, the disgusting side. Oh, everybody's got secrets. Everybody's dark and depraved. But then it verges just a little too far. It verges into a territory where it almost feels like it's unrealistic. Where Jessica is just meeting all these guys and then she's just sleeping with all of them, and Trish will sleep with random guys, and Jerry will sleep with random girls, and it's just like all of these people just having sex as soon as they meet. That's how most people want to think the world works, but that's not actually how the world works. Normal people don't do that. And it's like the show just takes it up to 10 in all of these situations. Trish acting like a total just bitch throughout this entire however many episodes. She just keeps acting a bitch. And then she gets offered a better job because she's acting like a bitch. That's not how the world works. Okay, sometimes it does, but most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time, if somebody's smart, they see that or they hear that. They hear her just absolutely lose herself on her radio talk show. That's not somebody you want to hire onto your TV talk show. because you don't want them to go on there and cause a stir. And now there goes your ratings, because she just acted a fool on your TV show, talk show, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, really? Like, that was childish, that was immature. It's so dumb. And then, of course, because I knew this was going to happen, because she's been hitting that whatever it is, she keeps hitting it just constantly. I'm like, okay, so let me guess, she's going to run out eventually, right? Within the next couple episodes, she's going to run out, and then she's going to lose her mind because she doesn't have it. She runs out in this episode. Yep. So now she's going to be dealing with that, probably in the middle of one of her talk shows, and then that's going to cost her that job, and she's going to be like, oh my gosh, maybe I was wrong to do all of this. I'm so sorry. I'm a terrible person. Finding out about 7 episodes too late. So yeah, that's all been frustrating. The stuff with Jessica and her mom, in this one they kind of give them a little bit of a side story. It turns out Price Chang was the one that was shooting at them, so nobody from IGH. He's the one trying to take out her mom because her mom's the one that killed his friend, which, kind of is his fault, and he's probably projecting a little bit, which is why he's freaking out so much and trying to kill somebody else. But yeah, he tries to take her out. Her mom goes to kill him, and then Jessica injects him with some of the tranquilizers, so that way it can kind of calm her mom down. Like, okay, look, he's knocked out. You don't have to kill him. But her mom still wants to kill him. And then all of a sudden, Oscar, his ex-wife, comes in, tries to kidnap their son because she knows that she's going to lose her son. I'm just like, yeah, that makes total sense. Instead of acting like a decent human being and maybe possibly keeping half custody, do something that's definitely going to lose you custody of your son. And maybe even send you off to prison. Smart people. So that's what this episode is dealing with, is trying to get his son back. Jessica's mom helps out as well, which kind of leads you to think, oh, well, maybe they can work together, because her mom's like, yeah, I want to use my powers for good. But then they get back to Chang, and she's like, let me kill him. I want to kill him. I'm going to kill him. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, so that whole thing was just a bait to make us think, oh, well, maybe her mom can be good, just for you to twist it around at the end and be like, no, her mom can't be good. Her mom is definitely a monster. Why did you guys think otherwise? Oh, I don't know, maybe because you spent a whole episode trying to convince us of that. So it ends with her mom going after Chang because Jessica called the cop, and then Jessica tries to stop her, and then she beats up Jessica, and then the cops show up, and she's just like, Mom, enough, that's it. It's done. And so her mom surrenders herself, so that's where we leave off. Overall, I mean, that part of it, everything to do with Jessica and her mom is interesting. And the story with IGH can be interesting. But there's just so much time dedicated to stuff that I don't care about, or is just really, really dumb writing. And not necessarily the sake of because, oh, these things don't happen in the real world, but it's so many things that feel just unrealistic. Whether it's people picking fights for stupid reasons, whether it's people hooking up for stupid reasons, whether it's people just acting unnecessarily dark and depraved because that's just what the show wants to be. I don't mind if you want to show the dark and depraved side of people, because you can have a show based on that. However, to have all these people, pretty much everybody in your show, acting this way, it's like nobody's different. Everybody's the exact same. And I don't like that. And that's why Griffin, for me, was such a good character, because he was someone who wasn't that dark and depraved. Now, was he a little bit kind of an egotist? A little bit. Not really a big one, but you could tell the ego was there. But he wasn't some dirty scumball in backdoor meetings. He wasn't using Trish to make himself look better. He wasn't using her as some sort of, way to make himself look better in the social eye. He was just doing it because he actually did care for her. And then they decided to get rid of him about halfway through because we can't have that. No, we can't have normal human beings. Everybody on our show has to be weird somehow. Whether they are, they're just superpowered, whether they're taking drugs, whether they're alcoholics, whether they're homosexual, whether they're dealing with parent issues, whether they're, military people that have mental issues. I don't know. Everybody's got to have something wrong with them in this show. And it's getting too much for me. It's getting to the point where I just want something normal to happen. I want them to stop focusing on all of this stuff and actually talk about a normal story and actually have the main story become the main story again, instead of it just being one of the many stories in your show. So I don't know. That's how I feel right now. Maybe I'll change my mind as the season goes along. Maybe they'll finally stop focusing on all the side stuff and just go right back to the main story. Who knows? But right now, I'm a little frustrated, and it's probably the most frustrated I've been with these Marvel Netflix shows, if I'm being perfectly honest. So we'll see what happens next. But yeah, that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you think of these 3 episodes? Did you have the same grievances that I did? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe to Jessica Jones reviews. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.